was crazy about joining the military. Joining the Nigerian army, fighting for Nigeria. Sometimes I hear about Boko Haram and I'm crazy about it. I went to school, finally graduated. After graduation, I applied to the Nigerian army, tried my best. I've worked with Aptech, I've worked with Zenith Bank, I've worked with Hydrogen Pay, I've worked with Go My Code, currently working with Accenture. So then went to University of Calabar, studied biology. In a more precise state, I studied genetics and biotech, but it's under biological science faculty, right? So I'm specifically breaking this down for people who would say, I did not study computer science, so I cannot do software engineering. So from there, I went into teaching. I became a teacher. I was teaching in Abuja. I think I was earning like 25,000 naira at that time. So from there, somebody told me about Decagon. So I went to I saw their stuff online. I applied. It is also a school you will go to, but what attracted my attention to the school was because you have to resign from your job, and that was the perfect thing for me, since you have to resign from your job and they will give you an apartment. They put you in the apartment for 6 months. So I've worked in different companies. Some of them are just probably for 3 months, get the projects done, move to another product. So that cannot be a stumbling block. Now, in the tech space, your certificate does not really matter. What people are after, tech is a skill. You solve a problem. What people are really after is, can you solve this problem? If I have up to 5, I apply for that job, because it's an opportunity to learn 5 different new things on top of my skills and become even more better, right? So that means it is not my certificate that brought me here. It is the problem I can solve.
Oh. Can you briefly introduce yourself?
I'm Innocent Udo. I'm a software engineer at Accenture. What I do day to day as a software engineer is try to fix code bases, maybe new features that are coming, or probably the existing code base that is running. You have to maintain it, you have to keep it running, improve it. So these are like the major things we do as a software engineer. We support applications, we add new features, we try to fix existing bugs or the one that is to occur. So that's what I do at Accenture, Malaysia. So I am currently working for Accenture, but under another company called U.O.B, which is like United Overseas Bank, which is one of the big bank in Asia. The company is in Singapore, but I base in Malaysia. So just short about me. Maybe in the time when we start to interact, I will tell you about my background, how I got to this point. So that is what people are always wanting to hear. How did you get here?
So where are you from, Mr. Innocent?
From Nigeria. In fact, I'm a serious Calabar boy. So naturally, from place of origin, I am from Akwa Ibom, but I was born and brought up in Calabar. So then went to University of Calabar, studied biology. In a more precise state, I studied genetics and biotech, but it's under biological science faculty, right? So I'm specifically breaking this down for people who would say, I did not study computer science, so I cannot do software engineering. So that's why I'm specifically telling them that I came from a biology background. I studied biology. So I did not just, I didn't study computer science. So you won't say tech is only for computer science people. No. You can even study economics. In fact, you can study history and philosophy of science. And then you come outside. If you decide to do tech and you put in all your effort with all the things I'm going to share on this call, you can definitely shine your light. In fact, it is the shortest way to Japan now. In fact, the only currency to Japan right now is through tech. The easiest, the fastest currency to Japan. In fact, to have a visa in Japan is tech.
What about the medical field? In the cases of doctors, nurses, surgeons, and its likes.
No, 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 no. If you say for the medical, if you say doctor for the medical part, there are so many processes, you understand, and there are so many years you need to. Do you know how many years you have to study to earn a license? Probably doctor like 7 years, right? Other degree like nurses, 5 6 years. You understand? That's for studying. After studying that, you now have to sit down to write professional exams to get license to operate before you now start thinking about JAPA. 7 years, if you put 7 years into tech, you should be a senior engineer. By then, you might have traveled in like 10 to 15 countries. Let's say you start tech. In 7 years that the doctor will be graduating, in that 7 years, you're already a senior engineer in one tech firm, traveling up and down, doing big things, earning good money. Whereas somebody will just be graduating to come and look for housemanship to do. So you see when I say it's the fastest route. Yeah.
Let's talk about your discovery into tech. How was the journey like?
For me, I used to see people who say I had passion for tech when I was small. It's from childhood. I started pressing computer. I'm happy for their story. Perfect. For me, my story is a different case. I didn't have passion for tech. Number one. Number two. Uh, in fact, when you are small and somebody asks you what do you want to become, some people will mention doctor, lawyer, because as at that time that was the outstanding um, professions that we, when you mention it, people will be loyal. Your family will be proud of you. Mhm. So for me, when I was
Yeah, I
small,
get.
I've always wanted to be a pilot. Always wanted to be a pilot. Along the line, as I grow up from childhood, start entering adolescence, I was crazy about joining the military. Joining the Nigerian army. Fighting for Nigeria. Sometimes I hear about Boko Haram, and I'm crazy about it. I went to school, finally graduated. After graduation, I applied to the Nigerian army, tried my best. You know, there's this mentality in Nigeria that for you to join the Nigerian army, you need to have a connect. So I tried my possible best. I had some friends who were willing to help me, and they tried their best, and it didn't work. So, as a young man, you need to survive. The thing you have passion for is not coming, right? So you need to
Exactly.
survive, right? I tried the first time, all these statements that you need to have some kind of godfather or an uncle who is a general or something, somebody who is in the Senate, to recommend you and all those ones. And for people like us, we don't have commoners, we don't have that big uncle that will say just bring your CV or just
Exactly.
just apply,
Exactly.
we'll put your name in the Senate or something. So from there, I went into teaching. I became a teacher. I was teaching in Abuja. I think I was earning like, I think, 25,000 naira at that time. So from there, the breakthrough for me was having a job in a logistic company. So I now had a job in a logistic company called GIG Logistics. So the job was tedious because after I came to Lagos for training, went back to Abuja. I was posted to a center in Garki. You know, uh, I had a very good supervisor that time, but my supervisor is a workaholic. So you should know that you definitely is going to become a workaholic. So you go to work by 7 a.m. and you finish sometimes by 9, 10. You close the customer by 6, and you are still trying to wrap up items and finish around 9, 10. Before I get to the house, it's already 10, or sometimes 9:30. And you're tired and you sleep. You wake up the next morning, that same routine, that same cycle, you know,
This
uh,
this
is tiring. And you work Monday till Saturday every day.
hmm,
That is serious slavery, my brother. Yeah. For a young graduate like
I
me, that is serious slavery. Yeah, along the line, I met a lot of people who, try to talk to me. Sometimes I feel very sad, like, doing repeated thing over time, doing repeated thing, come to work, sit down, customer service, you talk. When you're done, you wrap the item, you load them on truck when the captain or the truck comes around and all those ones. It became very boring. So one day, somebody talked to me about it and was suggesting that, why not try? You look very smart. Why not try, to do this tech thing? And, for me, who is spending a lot of time working and suffering and struggling, and somebody is telling me that this is an opportunity to grow. I tried, I applied. So I think I somehow saw ALX. That was when I started my tech. So the person told me about ALX and I forgot. Somehow it popped up on my YouTube one day. I was watching and I saw the link and I applied. I went into the program 3 to 4 months. I was really struggling. Now I told you I do 7 to 9 or sometimes 7 to 10. I get home, I am already
yes
tired. I am tired, and then I struggle to take my laptop and study 2, 3, 4 hours. Sometime before I will finish, maybe like 1 a.m. in the night, I will sleep. You get to work the next day already tired. My eyes are red, and sometimes you look at customer and they think you're angry, but you're not angry. But it's because of what you're going. Even I try to be the best, even in the tech that I was studying, because I needed a change. That hunger for change. So from there, I discovered that if I learn and I try to teach or explain to somebody, I understand even more better. So that was how I got into a group like that. There's a guy called V-Wave created a group. So he used to teach that group. Along the line, he got so busy that he couldn't maintain the group again. So I took it upon myself to start teaching those people, guiding other people who were also learning tech. I'm sure that is where you met me, right?
yes
Yeah.
yes yes so
I started guiding people, teaching. So I come back by 9. I sit down on my laptop. I try to learn a lot, watch a lot of video, read documentation, go beyond the scope of what the tasks they've given. So then I will now teach that same what I learned the next day by trying to show them how to solve their own tasks. And like I will not lie, every day I keep losing weight. Keep I keep losing I keep losing weight. It looks as if my head was now bigger than my body. you know,
in
you
both
know,
work now
when you look as if you're having kwashoko, you you keep
exactly I
you keep
understand
leaning down, your head keeps getting bigger. So, but 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 that was a good experience. I never gave up. After like 6 months into the program, I had some friends who were not contented with the program alone, so they went to do other boot camps. And then towards the end of 6 months, some of them could design something and show me, but I couldn't do anything. I couldn't design. I couldn't do any front end. I kept doing bash scripting, according to ALX curriculum. I would be like, what is all this? There's nothing to actually show for to somebody and say, okay, I'm learning software engineering. This is what I can do. you know. So
yeah
uh I had this friend called Alex. He applied for a program, another school, another boot camp called Jagad. I think the school is in Italy or something, one Jagad Academy. So he applied. He also advised me to apply. And the school, I think they pay 3.5 million naira. So I think when you apply into the school, when you get a job, you start paying back, right? So I applied. He applied. He did the interview and he passed. I did the interview and I failed. So this was one of the discouragement. I was like, so for all the things I've learned for 6 months, I couldn't even pass an interview. you know, it was so discouraging, trying to survive even after that interview. But I kept on pressing. So somebody told me about Decagon, you know. So I went to I saw their stuff online. I applied. It is also a school you will go to, but what attracted my attention to the school was because you have to resign from your job, and that was the perfect thing for me, since you have to resign from your job, and they will give you an apartment. They put you in that apartment for 6 months, and then what you just do, they give you food morning, afternoon, evening. What you just do is go learn, go to their classes, learn, come back, write code, stay with other people, mingle, collaborate, and that was the breakthrough for me. So, but when they mentioned the money, the basic salary was, the basic school fee was 3.5 million, and then plus normal interest rate of the bank, in Nigeria, makes it around 5.3 million, right? Which is too expensive, right? So for me, who was
Exactly.
earning 65,000 that time, how do I raise 5.3 million? you know. So,
That's
to cut the long story short, so they said they were going to assist, they can assist you get the loan from the bank, they will stand in for you and all those things. So I tried my best. I don't want to go in depth of how I was able to get guarantors and whatsoever, because that was horrible. That is
sure,
when you
sure.
will know that's when you will know that the people you call your friends are not even actually your friends. The people who smile with you when it gets to signing something that requires that heavy amount of money will start telling you excuses. That sorry, my brother, I cannot do this. Sorry, my brother. When they read the instruction and they say you have to sign, give a check of 4 million naira in case this person run. Some of them they already disappear. They're like, sorry, I can't do this. And you'll be like, is it not this person that I trust so much? So
I understand.
finally, I went there. That was the actual beginning of my career. So
Mm.
that was when I started. That's where they taught me how to write Java. Towards my early stage in ALX, they taught me bash scripting, all those ones, but I never knew the use. In fact, what I learned in ALX, I just started using it few months ago. So no knowledge is wasted, right? So, but in
Very
my early
important.
career, I've never used Bash. I've never had something like write a Bash script or a job that will run a command at so time. I started just doing it recently here in U.O.B in Singapore. So, all right. So, but before I just write normal Java code. So I started my career as a Java developer. I've worked in over like 6 to 7 companies now. Majorly they are fintechs, some are banks. All right. So from ALX, towards the end of my program in ALX, I got a job. I've worked with Aptech, I've worked with Zenith Bank, I've worked with Hydrogen Pay, I've worked with Go My Code, you know, currently working with Accenture. These are the ones I can remember right now. Currently working with Accenture. I've worked with a whole lot. I've worked with a company in China. I've worked with a company in Europe. I've supported. I've worked as a CTO in Estonian Europe Union government company, which is like they call them ethical miners. So I've worked in different companies. Some of them are just probably for 3 months, get the projects done, move to another product. So this is like the glorified parts. I've told you how I came from that background
Yeah,
struggle. It
exactly.
was really a struggle, all right? It was really, really a struggle, especially for somebody who has nothing to do with tech. And then you're just coming from a biological background, where you study plants and human beings, and the next thing you are studying computer programming language, right? And my early
Mm.
career, when I finished my bootcamp, got a job that early time, I really struggled, trying to cope up with the business requirement, trying to design, write clear, correct code. It's like learning a language. Let's say you are Igbo or Yoruba, or you're trying to learn a foreign language that you've not spoken before. When they speak the language, it looks like tongues in your ear. You can't hear anything. With
Exactly.
time,
Yes.
you start learning the bad things. You start learning how to abuse somebody in that language. Along the line,
Exactly.
as you keep understanding, as you keep hearing the language, that's at least you will first understand what they are saying for some period of time before you can start writing or speaking. But you have to first understand. So I started having an
Yes.
understanding, Zenith Bank, I think during my time in Zenith Bank, I actually learned a lot, like, because that was my first major big job that I did, before I now moved to Malaysia, and then started working, like currently where I'm working. So this has been my journey in summary. So for people that desire to want to ask more personal questions, they can always come to my LinkedIn and ask me that.
Do you feel like not having the computer science certificate is a stopping gap in your growth as a software engineer?
That cannot be a stumbling block. Now, in the tech space, your certificate does not really matter. What people are after. Tech is a skill. You solve a problem. What people are really after is, can you solve this problem? So that is why, um, when I'm applying for a job, maybe on LinkedIn or Indeed or any place where I want to find a job, I do not wait until I have the 100% qualification before I can apply. If I have up to 5, I apply for that job, because it's an opportunity to learn 5 different new things on top of my skills and become even more better, right? So if you go to a place
Yes.
where you already know 100% of the job role, then you're not learning anything. That's not the place you should stay. So majorly, you see recruiters, they will always put, you must be or you should be a graduate of computer science. That's not bad, but in depth, what they actually want is somebody that can deliver the result, the value that the company is looking for. So if you can show them that you have this value system, they don't even bother employing you because you have computer science. Okay, look at, I work in Accenture today, but what did I study? Did I study computer science? No, I studied biology. So that means it is not my certificate that brought me here. It is the problem I can solve.
Oh, yes. Valid. That's
Right?
valid.
Exactly. So I'm using myself as an example for people who feel that, because I did not study computer science, so I can't do it, I have limitations. No. People that knew the way and study computer science, perfect. There are some people who have studied computer science and even up to masters. If you give them a small program like this, they cannot write. They still carry their project to people who did not study computer science to help them do it for them. They carry their project to people in cyber cafe to design it. They still find a professional designer or developer on Upwork. Please do my assignment for me. So it is not about, did you study computer science or not. So it is not a stumbling block at all to your success. All right. That's what I'm saying, that all these recruiters, sometimes they might have like 50 or 30 jobs to post, or they need to employ like 50 people. You don't expect a recruiter to, especially most of the recruiters, they are not even technically sound. That is not their field. They just have a general knowledge of what tech is, but they do not know what the tools you use, how unique and what they can do. They're not developers. So what they just do, they just go to an existing maybe database of job description. They just copy it and paste it there, change the language that is required. If they say they need a Java developer, they just put Java developer, but copy the write-up from somewhere and just paste it there. Why? Because they don't have that time. But they want to interact with you. That's why when you apply for a job, you still do interview, because they actually want to interact with you to be sure that you know what you're doing. So I hope I did justice to your question, right?
Has there been any project you've done as a software engineer that has made you doubt yourself so far? Or question if you really know what you're doing?
It doesn't need to be a project. As far as you're a software engineer, no matter the level of your seniority, the way the world works, the reason why software engineers are paid higher is because they do innovative things. They do things that does not exist. All right, that's why they are paid higher.
Yes, yes.
If you do a static job, one day you just come, you clean your table, you just type in data and you print data. The static kind of job that doesn't change, doesn't need innovation. Nobody pays
Exactly.
you higher for that. The reason why you are paid higher is that you read a lot and you try to solve real life problem and you try to innovate things, bring things that does not exist. So that part where you have to think and bring out things that does not exist is what you are paid for. In software engineer, you read 80% and you code 15%. Because one, you need to read the criteria, you need to understand what you're building, you need to read documentation for you to be able to, implement your idea into a machine language for that machine to be able to understand and run it and give you a product. So you read documentation, you watch videos of how people have implemented it, what is the better way to do it. You read confluence, like where there is information, you read product PRD, product requirement document, for you to understand what the product is. You read the features and how does this feature actually works. If I implement it, you test it to see what problem am I trying to solve with this feature that I'm building. So you do like 85% of reading and understanding, and you just do maybe 15% of coding in your entire life. So, so it is always challenging. You will always be doing something that is new that you never knew before. That's why a senior engineer is respected, because it is believed that you have solved a lot of problem over time. So you have already earned that badge that when you look at a problem, based on what you have solved over time, you can relate to the new problems you have. You understand? So
Yeah.
I face new problems every day that are challenging, and sometimes it will make you feel less of yourself. That sometimes I go to the office and I see a task I'm supposed to do in a day. I try my best to make it work. It doesn't work. I browse, I research, I can't see result. I come back tired. And I'm like, are you sure I really know this Java that I'm writing? At that point, you need your connect. That's when you now call somebody and, guy, have you done this thing before? How did you do it? Sometimes even the least person you can expect can even be the answer to your problem.
Never
All
look down
right.
on anyone, anybody.
Never look down on anybody, even if the developer just started 1 year ago or 6 months ago. The developer can see something that you have never seen, even in your 5 years of experience. People think differently. That's why it's called collaboration. Bring your idea, I bring my idea, and we solve a problem.
What are the strategies do you implement to stay updated in the current tech space?
Now, the strategy I use is I want to just talk about discipline. And this works like it is 100% effective, but you have to use it based on your personality, right?
Yes.
Now, you might be a 9 to 5 person that works and then you want to transition. You might be somebody that doesn't work and you're free, you're always at home. Everybody has time. How you use it will determine the product it will give you in nearest year. So for every activity you do today, you are sowing a seed to reap it tomorrow.
Mm.
You put yourself into watching movies from morning till night, morning to night. You are sowing a seed of hunger. In the nearest tomorrow, you become a security man somewhere for a small boy that sat down to invest on his brain. Because during your time, you were busy watching movies. So whatever you are doing right now, you are sowing a seed of what you will reap tomorrow. It's very simple.
Exactly.
So I want to be a senior engineer tomorrow. I start sowing a seed of reading, you know, solving problems, even if they are for free. You understand? Even if those problems are for free. There was a time I reached out to people on LinkedIn and I reached out to senior engineers on LinkedIn and I'm like, is there any project you're building? Do you need assistance? Do you want me to assist you? Or is there anything you want to send me to do for you? Because I know senior engineers, sometimes they can be very busy and probably they just need a junior boy that will be running errands for them. Okay, there's this small feature, generate this boilerplate for me. So this small thing they are sending you, sometimes these are the parts you are building to become the senior engineer. So you invest in today to reap tomorrow. So pay attention to discipline. If you're a 9 to 5 person and you want to invest 45 minutes or 1 hour or 2 hours to your progress, I used to tell people that it is wrong to leave a job because you feel the job is too choking, it's too taxing, and they want to kill me. No. You don't need to leave your job. Rather, have a 45-minute escape route to leave that job. Every day, spend 45 minutes to add value to yourself. Multiply 45 minutes in 1 year. You should know how many hours you have spent to add value. And after 1 year, you yourself, even the management will see that this guy is underpaid. Either they pay you more or you see a better job that will pay you better. So it's a very simple thing. There is what we call it. I have what I call a 45-minute escape route or plan B, 45-minute plan B. Every day I come back, I sit on my laptop for 45 minutes learning something new, something completely new. If I'm learning programming, I spend that 45 minutes to learn programming. So how I keep myself updated is that I have a 45-minute plan. For me, I am very busy. That is why mine is 45 minutes. This 45 minutes, I do not do my normal usual job. I probably do an analysis of what my weaknesses are. When I came here, I used to write Java. I am conversant with Java. I am conversant with SQL. But I checked, I didn't really know how to write some kind of typical bash scripting jobs that will run big processes, financial processes. That's a weakness for me. How do I keep it updated? There is a 45-minute escape plan. So every 45 minutes, when I come back between 9 to 9:45, I learn bash scripting. I bought a course and I learned bash scripting. I have the data already. I try to manipulate this data. I watch at least 5 to 6 videos of bash scripting every day. And then I practice it. Tomorrow, I can decide to become a shell script writer and I earn money. Or I go to Upwork and I see shell scripting required or a shell script writer. I will apply to contracts, 1 to 2 hours or daily, collect some dollars. So this is the way to stay disciplined. Outline a specific hour for learning new skill. The globe pays you based on the value you bring. People pays you based on the value you bring and the ability to solve problem smarter than the manual way. Nobody is inventing anything new right now. People only find a way of doing the old things better. People just find a way of doing the old things better in a very better and easy way. That's it. So having a small minutes, maybe if it is 45, if it is 1 hour, if it is 2 hours, that you learn something new and stay consistent. Then avoid distraction. Avoid this. This is the part of it. Sometimes you can even have the time, but distraction will take you away from it. You want to learn something. Immediately you sit down on your chair and you're ready to learn. Few things begin to happen, and I'll list a few. The rest, I'm sure somebody listening to me understand what I'm saying. Immediately you sit down, that is when sleep will come. You have made up your mind to learn, or immediately you just sit down and decide to learn like this, sleep will come to you. And then before you know, you're already sleeping. You stand up and be like, I'll do it tomorrow. Procrastination, number 2. And it continue. After 1 month, that's over. But if you sit down, you want to watch movie, sleep does not come. Number two, immediately you were ready to start reading, your mind start wandering. You remember that I did not off gas. You remember that that clipper was on. Did I lock the gate outside? Oh, is the door locked? Oh, you forgot to wash plates. Your mind just keeps, before you realize, that's when you remember, oh, I forgot to call my mommy. Oh, I forgot to call my girlfriend. Oh, I forgot to tell him. That wandering thing, the ability to keep your mind at peace, that's discipline. You discipline your mind. And then this is what I want to learn, and this is what I will do. Whatever I want to happen, let it happen. But this is what I want to learn for 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, we will think of all those things. But right now, everything shut down. I want to learn this. That's discipline. Another set, this is my last set. I have many more. If you want, you can ask me on the DM or on when you see this post, you can ask on the post, I will reply. Another one, in fact, the worstest of all is social media. My advice for you when you want to learn, put your phone on flight. If you are connected to your phone on Wi-Fi, put it on do not disturb. Turn the front of the phone and put it down.
Upside down.
Please try and apply this, because let me tell you how it distracts you. Let's say you want to watch a video or you want to read. You read one line, your phone, you see a WhatsApp message, you leave it, you go to reply. You come back, you try to finish the line, another WhatsApp message, you try to reply. If you are watching video, you are learning from a video, you play the video as he's saying, you are replying, before you know, attention is lost. You try, before you know, 2 hours has finished and you've not learned nothing. And you say, we'll do tomorrow. Tomorrow you come, Facebook, WhatsApp, LinkedIn.
TikTok.
There are so many social media now, I can't even TikTok. Somebody just posted, you go to somebody's tweet or Rift, you just watch, you laugh, you come back, you continue. You will end up 5 hours, and if the total out of that 5 hours you just spend like maybe 10 minutes learning, the rest of the 4 hours 50 minutes you just spent it on social media. That is the highest level of distraction. That's the highest level of distraction. So apply discipline. Apply this few discipline if you actually want to sow a better seed that you will reap tomorrow. You might be booming now. No, you see, life happens to everybody. You can be working today and you are earning well. There are people that have been working in big companies and they just drop the number of people in that company. Nobody's praying for anything bad, but you have to build value. That even if you decide to leave your company today, the first question I used to ask anybody that say he's doing well is that if they sack you today, how many months or how many days does it take you to get an appointment letter that will be equals to the same amount you are still earning? So that one is a story for another day. We'll talk about that one. How to build your connect. For me, if I decide not to work for Accenture today, at least the highest it will take me is 1 week. I will get new offer letter. If it doesn't pay me up to what I'm currently earning, at least something close to what I'm currently earning, that at least it will not affect me. So we'll talk about that one another day.
How was your job application process like when you had your first major tech job at Zenith Bank?
Because I think Zenith Bank, we were 50 developers that were scheduled for interview. When I saw my name, I was surprised. When I saw my name and I checked the names of people that were added with me, checked their LinkedIn and saw how they were doing, I just knew that maybe I will not even get to the door. So, but processes of interview, we finally got to 2 people, and it was me and a lady. 2 of us we given offer later. I finally resumed. The lady, I think, decided not to resume. I can't remember what the problem was. But I was the lonely survivor that resumed that's in that line of interview. And that my time in Zenith Bank actually changed my life because I learned a lot. I met a lot of people. I met a lot of developers who were very supportive, very, very supportive.
Who or what has been your biggest motivation or inspiration throughout your tech journey from day one to accounting?
My biggest motivation has been okay, maybe there is a who, but it's a future who. So my biggest
Okay.
motivation has been living well, money. In fact, let me not speak too much language. Money, right? Because I want to be wealthy. I want to be wealthy. I want to, take up responsibility and, help my family, help my parents. It is joy that when you have a son or you have a child, and that child finally becomes something tomorrow, and then comes to take care of you as a father or as a mother who has, spent all your resources to build this child. And that child goes and becomes something tomorrow and come back home and say, you don't have to work again. This is your old age. Instead of keep suffering, sit down, live longer, eat well. Not when your
Exactly.
father is like 60, 70. He's still doing security, he's still running Uber, he's still doing security somewhere in order to even survive. When you have grown up sons, like it is the pride of every parent to see that towards the ending of their age, their children has already made it and coming back to say, rest and live long. So this is my inspiration. Like I plan to, I don't expect my mother to be working by this time, except she just want to do it for an exercise. I don't expect my father to be working by this time. You understand? They should stay at home. The best thing they can do, the kind of work I want them to do is just stay in the house, go for exercise. When you wake up in the morning, pray for me. That's your duty. Pray for me to excel. I do the job. Just pray for me. When you pray in the morning, go for your exercise, come back, eat well, sleep, wake up, pray again in the afternoon, watch movie, go for exercise, go for gym, pray again in the evening, pray at midnight. Your duty is to pray that I excel. Because the more I excel, the more I take care of them, I give them a better life. And for the who is inspiring me, is my future family, my own family I'm going to build. I do not want my children to come and suffer. No, I don't. I want to also give them a better life. I want to give my wife a better life. As much as I will train all of them in tech, they must definitely be technically sound. Both my wife and my children. From 10 years, they're already learning tech.
Valid,
Because
valid.
I want to give them a skill that they can also use to generate income for themselves. It is easy when you see a child of 13, 14 years being able to have a skills that can generate income and then make things easy for even you who is the parent. You start showing them the easiest way. You are going to go to school, it's a normal thing. But not that when you are done, you now come and be looking for one uncle or one auntie that is going to give you work. You already have a skill that can generate income for you to take care of yourself. So those are my motivations.
What has been the difference between working locally and internationally? And how has that changed your perspective?
Much different. There's a lot of differences. Starting from the lifestyle, the mentality, the way things are being done. You know, I'm not saying Nigeria is bad or something. Understand? I'm only saying that when you work in a okay, let me give you a scenario. You cannot grow beyond your mentality, right? No matter how if you take a fish and put that fish in a fish pond, the fish can never grow beyond that fish pond, right? Because that is the environment. It has walls. It can't think beyond that walls. But if
Yes.
you take that same fish and you put it in an ocean, that fish will grow and grow very nourishingly. Why? Because he's exposed to a lot. He sees different people. He gets challenged to do things. He sees people do things, and he also wants to do things. You cannot become what you cannot see. It's a very simple logic. You can only grow to become what you've seen. So you take a man out of Nigeria and you put him in an international space where he has more competitors. He has more challenges to face. He tries to man up to those challenges. For the fact that even if he's not becoming the best in the whole, in everywhere, for surviving through an international space makes you a better person. In fact, makes you more better than a local champion.
Valid.
Yeah, so I think this illustration has already covered the answer that I wanted to give. Even
Okay.
if you are in Nigeria and you're working remotely in US, it is for somebody who stays in US and is working their life, even if it's ending lower, somebody who stays in US and is ending lower, but his life in US is better than somebody who stays in Nigeria or who stays in a local country and work remotely and is ending higher.
Mm.
Because one, you have gone to an international space. You've learned new culture, the way things are done differently. You understand? You interact with people. Like I told you the last time, the best way to learn is physical interaction, one-on-one. That's the best way. You pay tax, you are even more valid. You understand? If they want to, probably, let me use the normal, the country perspective. If they want
And
to give somebody citizenship in abroad, they will not come and give a remote worker who has been working for 50 years. They would rather give somebody who is staying there because you understand the culture of the people, the life of the people. You see life differently. So, but that is out of tech, right? So, it's a normal thing.
so, what advice would you give to someone who aspires to follow a similar path like yours or in any work field?
I think I have really taken out time to explain this part in the other question that talks about discipline. For somebody who wants to start, I encourage you, you can become anything in this world. You can, for people who inspire to become anything, you can become anything. Nobody is too intelligent. Nobody is too dull. Nobody is too slow. Nobody is too fast. Everybody were born with different and unique abilities. It is left for you to decide how you want to use your ability and build value. All right. So I will give a very simple formula that works for everybody. There are three key things you need to have. Like I said, the only qualification you need to become a tech guy, or the only qualification you need to succeed in any space or any field or any profession, is three. One, passion. Either it is passion or it is money. For me, it's money. Number two, consistency. Number three, discipline. I am going to talk a lot about these three. The rest of the things you need to have is under these three circles. All right. The circle is very big. There are so many things you need to have, but these three is the core foundation of things you need to have for you to excel in any profession, including tech. Now, let me talk about passion. Some people can be very passionate about something that you don't even need to pay them. They will do it with all their heart and give you the best result, right? That's a good thing to have. Some people can be inspired because of money. They don't want to be poor. They want to live a better life, all right? And that is why they do what they do. And they still make it. So in each of the category you fall, some of you are already tired of the current work you're doing. Somebody is insulting you, want to be your own boss. Be passionate, or let money be your goal, but do not be influenced by the power of money. It can be your goal because you want to live well, you want to be healthy, you want to give a better life to yourself and your family, your loved ones, but do not be influenced by the power of money. They are two different things. Now, when you have a passion, consistency comes to play. Meaning that if I want to learn a new skill, like I used the language, learning another person's language before, you have to stay consistent. It is not that you do today, you leave it for 1 week, you come back after 1 week, you do again small, you leave it again for 2 weeks. That is not, you will never grow, even in the next 10 years. So you need to stay consistent. If you want to do it 1 hour per day, or you want to do it 45 minutes per day, whether it is comfortable or it is not comfortable, you just have to do it. Whether it is pleasurable or it's not pleasurable, you just have to do it. That is what we call consistency. So when you stay consistent in what you do, there is 100% chance that you're going to excel in it. All right. Repetition. Remember, when you went to school, when you were small, you go to school and you sing A, B, C, D to Z. You can sing it for a whole term. Why? Because they want it to get to your subconscious. That is consistency. When you are consistent in learning, let's say you want to learn another language, you want to learn another tribal language or another country language, you stay consistent. You stay among the people who are speaking that language. They keep speaking, you keep learning. They keep speaking, you keep learning. All right. So that is consistency. The final one, discipline, which I spoke a lot about in the last time. You need to be disciplined. Apply the rules I spoke about the last time. You need to be disciplined. If you are doing it every 9 o'clock, let everybody in the house know. You know, one thing that the Muslim have been able to culture, it's, I am not a Muslim, I'm a Christian, but there is the level of discipline that the Muslim have. If they say they want to pray, especially in Nigeria, there is no job, even government know that Muslim goes to pray by 1, and you can't stop them. No matter what you want to do at that time, they will go.
Exactly.
Even if you are having exams, even if you are writing exams, when it's time for a Muslim to pray, they will leave their exam and go and pray. That level of discipline, Christians still have it. Christians have it, but just that they are not that rugged compared to how the Muslims do it. So that's the level of, you see, the thing is that when you set your rules, people will tend to fight it at that first spot. But when they come to know that this is who you are, they just leave you like that. Especially when you are somebody of value. You set your rules.
Yes.
I learn by 9 o'clock. By 9 to 9:45 is my learning time, and everybody knows this. You don't call me at that time, I will not pick. If you did not know, fine. When you start complaining, I tell you that, sorry, by 9 to 9:45 is my study time. When you put it in your house, everybody knows by that time. They don't even bother you. Even the day you are not reading, people don't even bother you because they believe that this is your standard. So you see, that discipline is very crucial. So fix your reading time, number one. When you fix your reading, another one thing is to fix your reading time. Another thing is to use the time wisely and smart. So you fix your reading time, and we know it's 9 to 9:45. What do you do in that 9 to 9:45? Do you spend 5 minutes reading and 45 minutes on social media? Or do you spend 5 minutes reading and 45 minutes and 40 minutes in discussion or wondering and thinking about something else? You know, so these are the questions we need to ask so we know if the discipline is complete. All right. So I think that with this viewpoint of mine, I have been able to convince you and not to confuse you that if you have these 3 qualifications, you are on your way on the path to success.
Now let's talk about tolerance. Under this big circle, what does this teach us as success-driven individuals?
Tolerance is still like a layer of discipline and consistency. Like I said, it's a big circle, right? So
Yes.
because along the line in your learning period, you are going to be fed up. You will have some reasons, some genuine reasons to fall apart or to stop learning. I will give you an example. I think in the last discussion I told you about a friend of mine that the father, he was teaching, he was having a class with us, and the father, somebody called him that the father just died. And we could hear the call because I think his mic was not mute on that call. So he shouted Jesus. When he shouted, he breathed in, and then he dropped his phone. I was expecting to hear, "Oh, guys, sorry, we'll have this call tomorrow." My guy continued. He was like, "So this variable is equals." I say, "What, guy? I think you need to." He said, "No, forget." It was when he finished that class that he had to call his parents or call somebody to know what actually happened. That is tolerance. And I was expecting maybe after then he will send a message and say, "Oh, guys, we're not going to have class again till like maybe 1 month." After 1 month, he will come back and say, "My brother, you know what has happened?" Or he will start asking us for money and say, "I want to bury my father." No, the next day he fixed class. That is the example of people who have genuine reason to stop learning. But because they have a goal to achieve, that tolerance spirit, the ability to tolerate and grow, that's a high level discipline.
Mm.
I also have a friend who currently works as a mentor in ALX today. She has kids. She's married. She was working at that time. She does 9 to 6 like I was, but she's married. She's a woman, and she has kids. How she takes care of these children, take them to school, take care of the husband, prepare food for the husband, and still read by 1 a.m. with me is something out of the box.
Hmm.
So for people who say, I'm a mother, I have children, I cannot do it. No, people have done it. Tolerance.
Exactly.
Somebody that will say, you will have reasons to stop. Yeah, somebody will say, my laptop is not good. I don't have a good laptop. Another person will say, I don't have money to buy laptop. Those excuses are not enough. If you're a young man above 18 or 20, and then you just newly have a girlfriend, you can trek to any length to go and see the girl. You can trek to any length. So if you can pay this sacrifice for the love of a girlfriend or for the love of a boyfriend, why not pay a sacrifice for a value that you will reap tomorrow and live a better life? So genuine reasons will come up. Non-genuine reasons will also come up in the process of learning. It is left for you to decide what is the best to do at that point. There are some that are genuine that you want to drop off. It's fine. It is your choice. But remember that the seeds you sow today is a reward you will get tomorrow. Let
Wow.
this always be in your heart 247, 24 hours. How you want to live tomorrow, you are making the decisions today. So tolerance, it's a high level discipline. Do not fall apart, even when it is difficult. If you need somebody to talk to, when it looks so difficult, you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can reach out to Victor here. We'll always be there to talk to you. Some of us have gone through this process. I have trained people in my career path. I've worked in Aptech, I've trained people, I've worked in my but I've heard a lot. And for people who faces these genuine challenges or challenges that never give up, always have a better story at the end. So I hope with this viewpoint of mine, I have done justice to your question.
What impact do you hope to make in the tech world? What legacy do you see yourself setting? And how do you see your work contributing to that vision?
I am living to set. This is a very huge question. So, in my paths, as I grow in the tech space, I have discovered that some people tend to learn tech wrongly. And then there is a big gap between what is done in the production space and what people are currently learning. So the legacy I want to bring to the tech space is trying to bridge this gap between what you are being taught in school is also what people are really doing in the production space, so that when you're done, you can be easily employable, or when you get into the production space, you're not a stranger to what is happening there.
Yes, valid.
Exactly. So that bridge is what I try to to to, to cover up, especially for us who are in not more developed place compared to international countries. So that bridge is what I'm trying to figure out for now, and I'm trying to gain a lot of experience so that when I bring this experience together, it would completely seal that bridge.
If you could go back in time and advise yourself or change your approach during your tech journey, what would that be?
I think the last question and this and the former one, both of them are intertwined, because I'm trying to cover a bridge. So I'm going to talk about how I got into that bridge and how I got out of that bridge, and what I would do better not to get into that bridge.
Okay.
Exactly. So if I was to go back to time, I want to learn programming again, or learn to grow to become what I am today again. The normal path I came from was through ALX, like I explained, to Decagon, and then to professional workspace till I got here. If I was to learn again, I will categorize it into 3 levels. Level 1, instead of going through that path and spending a whole lot of money, I would rather find a professional who is already making it or who has made it already, and understand how the production space looks like is, and I will learn from that person, which is like the best pattern of learning, one-to-one. You are doing the mistake, somebody is showing you, somebody is correcting you. That's why even before time, God made a family, and then this family will procreate, right? And then they have a son, and they nurture that son. After nurturing, the son will leave the family to become his master. That is in the wisdom of creation. They did not give procreate into a school, and then that child will learn in that school and grow. There is this one-on-one encounter with parents. So this applies to all professions. If you have somebody who has already made it, that's why you have a father who has already become a man, will now train up a child to become a man. Or you have a mother who has already become a woman, will now give birth and train a child to become a woman. That's the same thing. So you meet a software engineer who has already become a professional software engineer, and the person mold you to become an engineer. Because in that, you are not just learning how to write code. Like I said before, you write only 15% of code, and then you do 85% of reading and studying. So definitely you are going to learn how this person actually solve problem. How does he think? How does he interact with others to solve that problem? How does he have Zoom call? Talk on Zoom call? What tools does he use? These are things that is not manually, like it's not officially learned. You just, maybe when you're around him, you just see him do it, and then the brain is picking all these things, is capturing all these things. So when you get to the workspace, you are not a stranger to how these things works. So it's a natural thing. You go to workspace and you're like, there's a Zoom call somewhere. You're not a stranger because you've seen a professional have Zoom calls. They are using Jira to allocate tasks. They are telling you tasks. They are telling you Scrum. You are not a stranger because you have seen a professional who has been doing Jira, doing tasks, how he marks his tasks. You see these things. It is not a professional learning like you have to go to school. They don't teach this in school. You see his connections, you learn his connections, you see how he connects with people, you see how he gets his job. So when you want to find job, you already know how job is being gotten. Not when you finish school, you now start applying for a job. You now start learning how to get a job when you're done with school. So if I was to learn again, I would learn from a professional. This is the A grade pattern. One-on-one learning. It is either you meet with that professional, he charges you and you pay, and then you learn with him, meet him, go to his place, be his friend. The best way to learn from somebody is to be his friend. That's number one. Number two, or I will give an illustration for more if time permits. That's why the Igbo people in Nigeria will always be standing out, because a boy or a young man graduates from the secondary school from the Igbo land, and they take him to go serve his master. And then another person goes to finish secondary school and enters university. They have both 5 years. In these 5 years, the Igbo boy has learned from his master. Not only maybe he's doing a spare tire business. He will not just learn how to repair spare tire or sell spare tire. He will learn how to sell. He will learn how to fix. He will learn the connection of the master, how the master actually get this spare tire, from what country, from which people does he get this spare tire, how is it an original, which bank does he need to take loan from and get his own spare tire. He learns almost all the skill required. And in like 5 years, in fact, before 5 years, some of them, they have already opened their own before their boss will settle them, because they have all the things required. They know how to make it work. They know who to connect. This is what they learn from the boss. In 5 years' time, the boss settles him and he goes open his own place. In opening his own place, he has everything to survive in that place. He doesn't need to find or know anything or go to learn extra thing by himself. Compared to somebody who just finished school, you just finished with a certificate. That's when you start entering webinar on how to get a job. You start applying. In fact, you end up working for the Igbo boy that has already opened his own place and has a company, a spare tire company. You go to become a data entry for him or office assistant. But you had put 5 years to invest. So if I was to learn again, instead of going to learn in a school, I'd rather learn from a professional. That is the fastest way to get your results. The second way, if I cannot learn from a professional, I will now go to school. Probably I would go to Decagon again, because I think Decagon gave me an environment, a physical environment, where I will have to stop my job and focus on just development. And I met other people that would actually teach me. You understand? So I would go to Decagon again, probably go through the same path I went through, if it is ALX to Decagon. But things I learned in ALX, I didn't really use them. Like I said, I just started using them like a few months ago, learning how to write batch. Although most of the things, I did it, I didn't even understand in my early career. And then, but today I learned it and I keep doing it. Or the last steps I would have done is learn alone. This part is the slowest part, because you don't know what you're learning. You're just jumping into a river and you're trying to survive. Somehow you can find your paths. Somehow you might not find your paths. It's a 50-50 chance. But at least in school, you have somebody who guides you and say, okay, study this. But it's just that your chances of getting to the goal is reduced, is longer. But when you're learning from one individual self, that's the fastest. So if I was to go back to time, these are the 3 things that I would have done. The first one or the second one, or the third one. But the first one is my highly rated. Thank you so much. So the way to bridge this gap is that I want to open up to mentor people. All right. But not actually now. In my late career, when I have I've gotten all the experience and I've settled down, I would want to mentor people so that people can actually learn from my experience. In that, I will be able to bridge that gap. I will either build a software that will mentor people both remotely and physically and guide them on how to, get into tech, guide them, help them see how this is really done. So you don't have to finish and start looking for job again. By then, I have worked with a lot of companies. I can be able to recommend people based on their intellectual know-how. I've interacted with them. I could be able to recommend people for job, which I'm still doing, and I will continue to be doing. All right. So thank you so much.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. That was really powerful for you. And I really thanks for your transparency on all these my questions. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So
All right.
like I think everybody that will watch this, and also me, would like to know who is your role model. Do you have
Yeah,
a role model?
I have a role model. I have a role model. He's currently like, I don't know, like the most senior engineer in Accenture currently now. He's a
What's his name?
Malaysian. His name is Stanley Farouk. He's a Malaysian. I think he was my hiring manager. He actually hired me when I was doing the interview.
Wow.
He's too good. The guy is too good. I used to wonder how his brain works, how he thinks. Like he thinks like flash of lights. When like six people are gathering and they brought, let's say something happens to production code and everywhere is shut down and everybody's busy trying to, what happened in the night? How did this work? How can we solve this? And it just comes.
Exactly.
Like, people have a spirit, very peaceful spirit. He just comes inside and just sit down and just say, what happened? And you just tell him, and he just said, why not do A plus B plus C? And you have your answer, and he will just say, why not do A plus B plus C? And you have your answer, he will laugh. He will laugh. And if you do A plus B plus C, it works.
Wow, that was massive. Like that was really that was great.
So I like him so much. I want to grow up in my career. He has been in tech, even up to 20 years now. So I'm not surprised when he say do A plus B because he's talking out of experience, right? So I also,
Exactly, yes.
I actually desire to grow up to be even more than that, even more than that. If in my short period of time, or if in my short career path, I have been able to, reach out, work in a kind of community of this kind of great people, then the opportunity to get even better is very high.
Yes.
Right? It's very high.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you